Hi, I'm Dee Dee Harris, and I'm the Family Service Director here at Dementia Alliance. And it is my privilege to have Jay Lester with me today. Jay came to my office, and we started working together. We just realized about a year ago this month, and Jay has been diagnosed with Lewy Body Dementia, and so he's here to share with us a little bit about his journey and his story. So Jay, I just look forward to us having this conversation. And, I know you and I've talked a lot over the last year.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've learned a lot, but I'm looking forward for you being able to share that with our audience as well.
No problem. I've tried to review what some of the high points so I don't get too verbose. But LBD with me uh, actually started after I had been diagnosed with RBD. Now, I'm sure your audience understands what RBD is, but for those that might not, it's rapid eye movement sleep behavior disorder. And uh, I fell out of bed one night and cut my head. And when I fell out of bed, there was a piece of plywood on the floor in front of my desk, which the chair rolls on so it doesn't eat up the carpet. And my head struck the plywood on the edge. So the back of my head got about an inch cut. And I've never had an episode where I would fall out of bed. So the next day was Saturday, and my doctor's office was open. So I went ahead and went to Dr. Reese, who was not my family doctor, but he said, I want you to go see Dr. Perkins first thing on Monday. We can take care of this just with medication, don't worry. So he was very comforting, and I certainly appreciated that. But after this RBD and got on medicine, clonazepam, which worked beautifully. After we got situated with the clonazepam, things were great. But before, I had like 2 more incidences where I fell out of bed. And I was really, really concerned that something very, very serious was wrong. So I kept going back to Dr. Perkins and my family physician. And, just talking about things. Well, 6 months went by, and I didn't have any episodes falling out of bed. And one person asked me, well, how did you find out that it was RBD if none of your doctors said anything to you about it? I said, well, I just went and Googled dreaming with injuries. And up popped many, many, many pages of information on LBD. And that's one of the first times I saw reference to Robin Williams and LBD. And this sounded a little bit like what was described in some of these Google excerpts. So I did some more reading, and the LBD, I was diagnosed with that. I need to turn the page back because during this period of time, I had had 28 sessions, 28 treatments of radiation for prostate cancer.
That's right, yeah.
And that was back in March of 2020, and that's when COVID hit. And so I had a lot of things hitting the fan, and a lot of people, on edge about, medication and so forth. And the LBD, I took some long tests. Like one of them took about 4 or 5 hours. And I think this was at the request of Dr. Perkins in Raleigh Radiology. And then I kept making phone calls to people that I thought might be able to help me out, and talked to a young lady by the name of Lori. I think it's Lori Idle.
Yes, that's
who
correct.
is, I think, in Cary. I've never met her, but she mentioned that for a second opinion to go ahead and go see Dr. Bazzoki at UNC. So I certainly did that, and I've got a ton of research on, what to expect now. But the surprise to me was the LBD being diagnosed so far out, or closer in time. RBD was, I've been seeing Dr. Perkins for 9 years.
So it was that far back
Yeah.
from that fall and that cut.
That's
And
right.
okay, so 9 years. Okay.
9 years. And nothing had been said about LBD until I was coming home after work I work 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from 3 in the afternoon till 11 at night. Well, there for a period of about 6 weeks, I was coming home, going to bed on Friday, midnight, sleeping all day Saturday, sleeping all day Sunday, sleeping all day Monday, and sleeping half the day Tuesday, then getting ready for work on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And this went on for about 6 weekends. So I called my Navigator at Duke and said, something's not quite right. Does this sound right to you? Do we need to do something? He said, well, it doesn't sound right. Now, we have a psychiatrist. I want you to go see a psychiatrist over at Duke. And so one of the strangest things about the LBD was how graphic the graphics were in regards to LBD and the episodes that you go through. It's not just at nighttime. My first real episode was during the day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had an appointment at Duke in the morning at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
But I couldn't find how to get there. I couldn't find my way. So I finally, stopped and asked, and still couldn't find Duke. Well, I called their office and told them, I said, I'm running a little bit late. And it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So the appointment was at 10, now it's 4 o'clock.
Now it's 4 o'clock. And I'd been driving around the whole time, back and forth. Beautiful day, most beautiful day. One of the most beautiful days I've ever seen in my life. But once 4 o'clock came around, I finally made it over to the Circle. And that's, let's see, yeah. But before that, maybe about a half an hour before that, I had gotten out of the car, asked for instructions or directions to Duke Circle. And when I went back to the car, got back into the car, there was a girl sitting in the passenger seat of my vehicle, which is a large Crown Vic. And I looked at her when I opened the door, and I didn't recognize her. Now, she didn't have her face looking at me. She was looking out the right passenger window. Okay. So I saw her ponytail, and I saw her skirt and her shoes and her socks. And I said, can I help you? Well, she didn't say anything. She didn't look at me. And I said, something's not right. This is not really happening. This is an individual that is a figment of my imagination. I said, this is weird. The colors were brilliant, outside the car, inside the car. No, she never did speak, but I said, okay, if you're going to be that way, I'm just going to get in the car, start the car and start traveling. And she didn't do anything, didn't say anything, didn't make any motions of any kind, and got on the highway, and for about 20 minutes she sat in that same position, and then she disappeared.
So, but that whole time it sounds like even though you saw her in very vivid details, very vivid, I mean, ponytail, collars, but even in that moment you kind of really knew that she really wasn't there.
Something wasn't right. Something wasn't right. It was like my whole body felt, that something is off kilter.
Yeah.
So I had that story to tell Dr. Perkins, and I think Dr. Bazzoki heard that story also. Now, I had some